What's the matter? What's the matter? What's the matter? I won't do anything. No.
Teen dating violence strikes 1 in 4 high school students. All over the country, teens are trapped in a cycle of manipulation, intimidation, physical and sexual abuse. Well, tonight, we're joined by MTV News correspondent Sue Chin Pak to face this disturbing problem head on. So get ready to cheer for justice. Terrence, correspondent starts right now.
February 3rd, 2007. To date, you have been responsible for 917 captures. This is America's Most Wanted. With host John Walsh. From across the country, our team of correspondents. Tonight on America's Most Wanted.
It's not love, it's not lust, it's not friendship, and it doesn't have to go on.
John Walsh and MTV expose a deadly secret. Teen dating turning violent.
Teen dating violence is an epidemic problem. This can be your own child.
What you should know. Also tonight.
Give me your money.
The more power he gets, the more he needs. If we don't find him, he will end up killing someone.
The new breed of sexual predator. You won't believe what this guy does.
Wake up and get out of bed now.
But first, catch him if you can. Again. He robs. He steals.
Isn't that your SUV?
He loves your wheels.
14, leaving the lot right now.
Now, from Austin, Texas, John Walsh.
Good evening. This is Austin, Texas. It's the state capital, and it's a music capital, too. Tonight, we're going to shine a light on a crisis that touches 1 out of every 4 high school students and left 1 teenager here in Austin dead. And we'll be joined in the fight by MTV News correspondent Sue Chin Pak. But first, we're on the heels of a fugitive for the 2nd time. That's right. You helped catch him once, but now he's on the loose again. Our Tom Morris breaks it down.
14, he's leaving the lot right now. He's leaving the lot. He's leaving the lot.
You know who the guy behind the wheel of this stolen Hummer is, but all the cops chasing him know is that he's driving like a madman.
We're saying 13. We're going eastbound on Sharon Road at this time.
He whipped through residential areas at 80 miles an hour.
We're pursuing 75. A vehicle crossing the median that hit southbound on 75.
He tore across highway medians. And he ran other cars right off the road. He's Terrence Washington, and he managed to turn a quiet Sunday morning in Sharonville, Ohio, into a dangerous game of catch me if you can. The reason you know him is that just 12 hours before that chase, we showed you what kind of player he really is.
I hate going through a day without learning a thing, or going through this life without earning a thing. It's every...
We put his lousy hip-hop lyrics to music to give you a glimpse into his thug mentality. He couldn't earn a dime rapping. Instead, he made his living robbing banks and stealing cars. We showed you all his favorite moves, shopping for just the right SUV or minivan, and sometimes taking the absolute wrong one.
Isn't that your SUV?
You just can't believe it's your own car, you know. Of all cars and all vehicles in the neighborhood, he could steal. You wouldn't think it's the one that has the 2 guys that's trying to hunt him down.
When things got too hot, he'd always rely on his favorite getaway move, what I like to call the Washington bailout. As many times as he was taken down, he always managed to find a way to escape. After busting out of prison in Louisiana, cops say he surfaced in Maryland, in a stolen SUV, of course, and busted a new move.
I can't believe that this SUV not only just hit me, but now he's backing up, and he's going to try to do it again.
4 players ran my vehicle twice.
When the cops got too close, it was time for his favorite stunt. And once again, the Washington bailout helped him get away. When we brought you Washington's last stunt 2 years ago, we thought that would be the last time we talked about this guy. Cops say he was up to his old tricks, ripping off cars, that time in Nashville. They say he first stole this minivan.
I looked out the window and was in shock initially and realized that my car was gone.
A couple of hours later, cops say Washington decided to dump the van for something more upscale. Big mistake.
It's hard to keep a low profile in one of these, a Hummer H2. It's the last thing you would think to steal if you're trying to avoid the cops. But not just because it turns heads. It's also equipped with OnStar, a global tracking system. When GPS satellites picked up the Hummer, it was no longer in Nashville, but 300 miles away in the Cincinnati suburb of Sharonville. The chase was on, and it was all caught on dashboard camera.
He's leaving the lot right now.
As soon as he got on the interstate, he slammed on his brakes and cut real hard across 3 lanes of traffic over to the median.
Finally, Washington spotted some woods. Now watch closely. You see his door pop open? I'll bet you know what comes next. That's right, the old Washington bailout. And then, straight into the woods. Washington was still a few steps ahead of the law when he ran out of land and made his last big mistake.
I said, no matter where you go, if you swim to any other place, there's going to be somebody waiting for you.
And sure enough, there was. Prosecutors convicted Washington on felony theft charges. He spent the last 2 years locked up in Ohio. But remember that car chase in Maryland? Well, prosecutors there wanted him back really badly to try him on charges related to that case. So a couple of months ago, he was temporarily transferred to Maryland. Washington was being held here at the Harford County Detention Center in Bel Air, Maryland. With less than a week to go before his trial, Terrence had no intention of keeping his date with the judge. He put his plan into motion in the wee hours of the morning. Since he's been locked up, Washington suffered from medical problems. And around 1:30 a.m., he said he was sick. The prison doctor recommended he be taken to a nearby hospital. 2 correctional officers shackled Washington up in leg irons, a belly chain, and handcuffs, loaded him in the car, and headed off to the hospital. Let me tell you something. With my hands cuffed to my belly chain, I can't even bend over far enough to touch my ankle shackles. But somehow, within the 6 minutes it took to get from the jail to the hospital, Terrence Washington got both undone. How he did it, nobody knows. When the officers arrived at the hospital, they didn't know it, but Washington had a surprise for them. The corrections officers were about to experience a new version of the Washington bailout.
Mr. Washington swings his legs out. He puts his feet on the ground. When he stands up, he steps out of the flip-flops, his belly chain falls to the ground, and he takes off running.
The 2 officers chased him into the woods, but the fleet-footed felon once again outran the law. Police found the prisoner's black and white striped jumpsuit at the edge of the woods, but there was no sign of Washington. Well, actually, there was. As you well know, Terrence Washington is a prolific car thief, and shortly after he escaped, police learned that a pickup truck vanished out of someone's driveway. After he traded a series of stolen vehicles, he dumped the latest one in Auburn, Alabama, where police found the rest of Washington's shackles. Once again, that's where you come in. Police now believe Washington, who's gained some weight since we profiled him 2 years ago, may be driving a stolen black 2002 Dodge 1500 pickup truck. The truck had Alabama plates, AM7-8213. Washington has tattoos all over his torso. The phrase, "Only God can judge me," is inked across his right chest, and this figure is on his left chest. He also has the word cash and a stack of money and a pair of dice tattooed across his abdomen. He's known to sport gold teeth, and when he smokes, it's usually Cool brand cigarettes. You've seen Terrence Washington. Call us right now at 1-800-CRIME-TV. And remember, you can remain anonymous.
To look at all the clues we've got on Washington, pull them up on our website, amw.com. Now, there's a whole lot more coming from right here in Austin, Texas, and you won't want to miss any of it, so keep it here.
Coming up.
Give me your money. What?
See why cops say this sexual predator has broken all the rules.
Wake up and get out of bed now.